What advice would you give to someone who wants to support survivors but does not know where to start?
Wow. When we are talking about addiction, trauma, pain, molestation, any form of trauma, any form of addiction is a family system issue. Everyone stems from a home. I tell people, when you are raised from a dysfunctional home, there's something that is close to you. Don't talk, don't trust, don't feel. In a family, they have what is called family secrets. Nobody wants to say anything. Everything has to be covert, especially people that are from probably a strong religious family system, a pastor, a bishop, cleric, a banker, people that are known, public figures. They raise children in a toxic way without knowing, because they don't allow those kids to express themselves. Before you know it, they use, I sent you to school, you went to Harvard, I pay your fees, I did this, I did that, to mask their emotions. I've seen children that their dad beats their mom, but they send them for summer every holiday. I've seen husband, men, sleeping with their daughters, and the wife is in the house, and they go for summer, they go on cruise every year. So they use money to mask the problem in the family. When people become exposed to healing, to recovery, to therapy, such children are actually taken away from the system to be helped, because they have to be out of the toxicity that has been on for a very long time before they can be completely whole. That is on his side. What about a child that is into drugs, spent everything, almost sell the house, sell all the gold, sold everything, just careless life, beat the dad, beat the mom, under the influence of drug addiction? Or a man that committed adultery. So how do I have my husband back? I'm going to break it down in bits. Now, for a woman that her husband has committed adultery and the man is sober, is broken, is gone through therapy, is ready to heal, is ready to do anything possible to become a better person, to become sober. We call it sobriety. At the end of the day, we have to carry the wife along so that the man will have, or the woman, depending on the gender, to have a soft landing. Meaning that if you have a man, maybe it's your husband that committed adultery and he's sober, he's not a narcissist, he's not a sociopath, he's not a person that will tell you, yes, I've committed adultery, what do you do? What would you do? Do whatever you want to do. Somebody that is ready to build back his marriage or her marriage. We have female narcissists also. Her marriage. Now what we're going to do is we put those family into another session of therapy, so that whatever has contributed to the addiction, maybe sexual addiction, maybe physical violence or verbal abuse at home, we try to let the parents know if it's drug addiction, if it is sex addiction. We allow the spouse to know that the addiction is not the fault of your husband. It's a way your husband is medicating a pain. But in a way you have enabled the man. Because most people that are married to an addict, they are also an addict. They enable them. For instance, if your husband is addicted to alcohol and he comes home drunk and he couldn't go to work, he can tell you, please, can you tell them in the office that I'm sick? And you will tell them in the office that he's sick. You are also an addict. You are enabling an addict to continue in the addiction. There is no one that is addicted to sex, to drugs, to anything that does not have one person in his or her life that enables them to continue. Now, when the person is exposed and everything comes to the open and recovery classes start, we carry the family along, we bring them into the picture, we do betrayed heart and beyond for the wife of an addict. For the children, we have their own therapeutic sessions, so that when they are coming out, when the people in struggle, those addicts, people that are struggling, when they come out, they will find a soft landing. They won't come to a place where you are an addict. We can't trust you. Please give me my purse. I don't want him to steal again. What is going on? Who are you watching? Let me see your phone. This, that, and that. You won't make that person feel, is it a sin for me to want to be healed? Is it a sin for me to be sober? Why would they trust me? Because trust has to be built back. Let me explain what trust is. I'm sitting, we're recording, I'm in the studio. Probably this chair, they bought it in the US. Part of, or UK, where they have good furniture. And as soon as I sat down, I knew where they got it from. I got it myself. I knew how much I paid to fly it back to the studio. And I just fell down. The first thing I'll do is, what is this? I'll call the company, blast them. They'll pay. Nigeria, if it happens, you're on your own. But when you are living abroad, you pay damages. I might say, oh, my back hurts me when I fell. They have to do all of that. Then if they take this chair to the company back, they flew it back to the company. And I knew we took it to the airport, it was flown back to the company. I'm trying to explain something about trust. Now, they now brought it back. Do you know if I want to sit on this chair, I'll still check if it's not going to fall me down. That is exactly what happens when people in the family has violated trust because of their addictive lifestyle. So the family has to be trained and tutored and monitored, because everybody that lives with an addict has been superly traumatized. The trauma is excruciating. The pain is too much. You are sitting down, you are looking at, okay, this was the glass he broke when he was on drugs. Oh, it was on my matrimonial bed that he brought a woman and you cut him. The picture comes to you live, as if you were there, as if the things just happened. What we do is we take those members of their families to treat them one after the other, give them assurance that this person is whole, this person is sober. And I put it also in this light. Probably you take a patient to the hospital. Going to the therapy is like taking a patient to the hospital, actually. The only thing you are treating is the soul, not the physical body. So if you take your patient to the hospital, is on admission, you're on the bed on admission, because your therapist will have to take you through a lot of, treatments. You are not taking physical medication, or you are taking emotional medication, psychological medication. Now, when the family of the people that brought the patient to the hospital, what they look forward to is, doctor, is he okay? Is she going to be fine? Doctor. So they rely on us as the therapists to give them a good news or a bad news. I've seen people that took their patients to the hospital, and by the time they do ward round, the doctors comes together, they will just be shaking their heads. You could read the body language and say, this case is bad. Maybe in an intensive care, the person is just going to die, it's obvious. But in therapy, it's the same. Now, it is your therapist that would keep assuring the family that this person is making progress. This person is recovering. This person is going to be fine. Now, the faith of the family depends on the therapist to assure them. And of course, there are a lot of things that will be put in place. For instance, if the person is addicted to drug, maybe marijuana, nicotine, alcohol, whatever, there's a test kit. We have a test kit to do tests every week if the person had relapsed. Now, let me talk a little bit about relapse. Sometimes, when an addict is going through recovery, they do relapse. Relapse is part of recovery. So we assure the person that is struggling not to give up when they relapse. But for every relapse, there's a consequence. What we do is, in addiction, like I said, we retrain the brain. When you are used to using your left hand over time, reflexly you want to use your left hand, and you are trying to become a right-handed person. So it is normal to go through such, rigorous process of coming out of your addiction, retraining your brain. And the beautiful thing is, brain can be retrained. That's the joy. If you are a left-handed person and you have an accident and you have to be using your right hand, you can use your right hand over time. God has so much made us that we can actually retrain our brain and be free from addiction. So the family too must check into therapy, because they need assurance from the therapist that this person is making progress. They will have peace of mind. They will not be watching the person, making the person to go through the pain. They won't be saying it to the person. You went to sleep with my brother, your brother's wife. You are this, you are that. We make them to let them be in a safe place where people believe in them, hope against hope. The moment you continue to treat an addict as if he's still acting out, despite the fact that the addict is in therapy, is going to frustrate an addict. When it comes to a husband and a wife that they had infidelity, what we do is very simple. We have addiction therapy for the husband. We have betrayed heart and beyond for the wife. Separately, then we now do couples therapy. What I've noticed over time is, before the addiction to sex or acting out or exposure comes in, there must have been some subliminal conflicts going on in the home. She's rude, she doesn't come home early, I saw him drunk, I saw a picture of another woman on his phone, on her phone, blah, blah, blah. A lot of things would have happened. They don't speak what means love to any of each other. They don't understand temperament or personality. Those are the things we do. So we still put them together for couples therapy. Now, during couples therapy, it helps the spouses to quickly recover. Meaning that the things that has been a major challenge in their home is being resolved during couples therapy. Now, what people don't understand is there are 14 invincible people going into marriage. 14 people you don't see. Every baggages, everything that happens to you growing up travels into your marriage. If they had done premarital counseling, their counselor who is intuitive or who has understanding of baggages, addiction, family system, being raised from an alcoholic family, being raised by parents that are physically violent, verbally abusive, from a dysfunctional home, the moment a proper counselor that has understanding of what happens in the family system hears that, he will know that potentially this girl is likely to act out in marriage. This man is likely to have addiction, or a man that is molested by adults or have sexual exposure from age 6 or 7. I have men that are addicts that their uncles and their aunties were the one playing with their private parts when they were young. So they grew into addiction. Such people would be treated, dealing with the addiction. The wife would have to be treated for betrayed heart and beyond, and for the fact that she has also enabled vice versa. Then, during couples therapy, we would now heal the two of them. They'll be healing together. By the time they are done with their sessions of healing and recovery classes, they become whole and complete. The wound heals without a scar. It becomes, wow, so I can love back, so I can take my life back. I can have my husband back, I can have my wife back. I have loads and loads of people that have been out because it was done properly. And one thing is sure, it has to be done properly. It's a thorough process and it's a marathon. In the process of recovery, we do lie detecting. There's a lie detector machine to be sure this person is not lying, because honestly, addicts are liars and very manipulative. And that's why I tell the wife of an addict or the husband of an addict, don't listen to an addict, watch their attitude. Don't listen to an addict, watch their attitude. Most of the time, all of the time, they are saying it's good morning, it's good midnight. Don't listen to an addict, watch their attitude. How are they responding to treatment? I told you it's like physical hospital, taking their medication, taking their treatment, calling someone, going through recovery classes, being accountable. I think I've said some things.